Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Why do we bother to listen to people like Bernie Sanders, to anybody on the left? Why do we listen? Why is George Clooney somebody we listen to? This guy's name is Ron Perlman. He tweets and he's anti-Trump. And I finally just got in his butt the other day. I just went after him. I did. And I'm like, why should we listen to you? He's the guy that played the lion in Beauty and the Beast. When remember when they had Linda Hamilton and she had a lion looking dude that protected her or whatever. That was the dude. And they didn't even need makeup. He's an ugly guy. Oh, you know what he's in? They canceled the show, but it was something of anarchy. The biker gang. And he was the leader of the biker gang. Super ugly dude. Not trying to be mean, but he is. And he always comments he's anti-Trump. This is a guy that you'd say to yourself, shut up. What do you know? He knows nothing. If we've learned anything from the left over the past decade, I mean, certainly longer than that, but let's just say the past 6 months, is they're liars. They're disingenuous liars. Worst people on the planet. They will steal from you faster than anybody and rationalize it. They will beat their wives and rationalize it. They will pretend that there's some atrocity happening to blacks and take a knee when there's nothing happening. They will pretend that they love women and they will protect them when they're the ones doing the worst to them. I'm telling you, if we've learned anything, we've learned they are the most crooked, vile people on the planet. They get mad, but give me some equal examples. Oh, Kevin, what about that Roy Moore? Unsubstantiated nonsense? That's what I would say to you. By the way, 30 years ago, I heard you molested a little boy in your neighborhood. What are you talking about? Why not? Could it have happened? Have you been around any little boys 30 years ago? Yeah, well, maybe one of them talked. Reminds me of that joke where the guy, the little Chinese dude sitting on the thing, and the guy says, the guy, I don't remember the whole joke, but it was something like he says, he won't talk to the guy that comes up to him and says, hey, can you give me some gasoline or something? And he says, well, maybe I'll ask the cow for gasoline. And the cow will tell me, well, maybe he's got some gasoline. I don't know, whatever. So he's talking like the animals. And finally he says, well, maybe I'll ask the sheep. And the old Chinese guy goes, sheep, she lie. Oh, you kind of get the joke, right? Even without me telling it right, you get it. So why do we listen to them? There's no reason to listen to them. They don't have a politician that makes a lick of sense. Tell me any policy Barack Obama had that has to do with your money, and I'll tell you, it was ridiculous. It wasn't going to work. Obamacare. He ripped us off. I'm $60,000. I don't know what it is total, but I know I'm at least $30,000 light because of Obamacare. And I think it's higher. I'm talking about just premiums. Told you guys this year, before I would be able to use my insurance, I will have spent $29,000. What kind of insurance is that? I don't know what would have to happen to me. And I know $29,000 doesn't go a long way in the medical field, but doggone it, it goes quite a ways. So he's done nothing. They can't point to anything that Barack Obama didn't help the economy. He didn't help blacks in unemployment. He didn't help businesses reinvest. In fact, most businesses are looking for things offshore. They're leaving their money offshore because they don't want to bring it back to his tax plan. Most of you are not looking to do better in life. You're trying to just get by. But they want to make you believe he's something else. So we have Bernie Sanders, who is still exalted by the left. They love this guy. And Bernie Sanders, 5 years ago, actually 6 years ago, Democratic contender, described the socialist ruled Venezuela as a more suitable exemplar of the American dream than the United States. And he wrote an essay. And here's what he essentially said. These days, the American dream is more apt to be realized in South America in places such as Ecuador, Venezuela, Argentina, where incomes are actually more equal today than they are in the land of Horatio Alger. That's how silly this man is. Despite Venezuela receiving trillions of dollars in oil revenue over recent decades, they're in the midst of an unprecedented economic collapse. And it is exactly because of the redistribution programs that Sanders extolled as a model for the U.S. economy that they are suffering. Grocery store shelves barren, hospitals no access to vital medicines, rationing underway, riots in the streets of Caracas. Triple-digit annual inflation is set to jump, they said, to 2,300% in 2018, and that was an article that was written at the end of written earlier this year in 2017. And guess what? The projected Venezuelan inflation rate is currently 2,600%. They thought it was going to be 2,300 in 2018. It's at 2,600 now. What do you think it's going to be later? Let me explain inflation to you in this respect. You don't even go to work to get a check. You have to go to work to barter. That barter is, I do this and you give me food, because by the time you get your check, it's worthless. I've been there. I didn't experience it. I've been in a culture where they got their checks from their employer. The wives would wait outside of a business, grab the husband's checks, run down to cash the checks in, and then go run to the grocery store and buy everything they could on that check. They didn't save a nickel, because it didn't do any good. The only thing of value is your service at that point. And you better hope you have a service that people need. For example, let's say you fix engines and people's engines are breaking down. They got to get from A to B. I don't know, whatever it is, but it better be valuable, because if it's not, you're not getting fed. Nobody cares about your worthless paper, Venezuelan money. An intensifying political crisis that spiraled since 2014 has weighed heavily on the economy. Gross domestic product is expected to, get this, contract 6% next year, after shrinking an estimated 12% in 2017. This is what socialism vets. It gets you nothing except the worst possible conditions. And yet, what do you see these people doing? Constantly, Bernie Sanders telling you redistribution's the way to go. We were headed there until Donald Trump stepped in. The Central Bank of Venezuela stopped publishing their inflation data in 2015. That's why. They didn't want to tell you. We are so hyperinflated, our currency is worthless. Go try to exchange Venezuelan money at one of these exchanges. There was one by my hotel in New York. If I'd taken Venezuelan money in there, they would have laughed at me.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.